So today I'm building a pretty small house. When I look at it when it's finished, it's clearly a house for one sim or maybe a couple. I kind of ended up accidentally making it all colour coordinated for the downstairs and then the upstairs. Just kind of happened, but there we go. I'm probably not really going to talk too much about it because you can see what I'm doing. So instead I'll just talk about something else. So I was on the phone today, FaceTime with my brother. We talk every week, and we were just chatting about, life and what we've been up to. And he did tell me something quite funny. So my brother has 3 sons. He's only a couple of years older than me, so he's very young. But he had children quite young. And so his oldest child is 7, his middle child is 6, and his youngest is 4. 3 boys. So as you can imagine, it's quite a rough and tumble environment and household. And my brother isn't the most conventional parent either. Some of his parenting choices can be quite questionable, let's say, And he said that he's bought a mobile phone that the boys kind of share. I think it's because nowadays even toddlers are constantly on iPads, aren't they? It's the only thing that keeps them quiet. So they have a phone that they look after. It's mainly the oldest one. He mainly looks after it. But my brother was telling me about how see, my eldest nephew, he has this confidence, and I don't know where he gets it from, but he's a bit of a ladies' man, even though he's only 7. So my brother was saying about how, so with this new phone, apparently when they were on the bus with their mum, my oldest nephew just kept going up to a load of secondary school kids, which at that age I probably would find them quite intimidating, but no, he just kept walking up to secondary school girls and adult women and just kept asking them to take a selfie with him. And obviously because he's a little boy, all of the women were just oh, okay. And then he would come home and be like, Dad, look who I got a picture with. So he's going through this phase at the moment where he's just walking up to strangers, only women though, exclusively women, and asking to take a selfie with them, which is quite sweet. But I think, to be fair, it is my brother's fault, because my brother has kind of raised them to be little adults. The way they talk sometimes it's hilarious, but it is almost like they're grown-ups. My eldest nephew, who I was talking about, who asks for selfies, he is really into cars, because my brother was really into cars, so he gets them into motoring and stuff because it's something they can do together. My youngest nephew, as I said, is 4, and all 3 of them can ride a motorcycle, and for their birthdays they always get some kind of motorbike, and it's a mini one that's for kids, but still that's kind of what they're like. Even at that young age they all know how to ride bikes. And but sometimes I do chuckle when my nephew talks to me, because he said to me, this was back when I lived in the UK, he said, my dad drives a 2.2 litre engine. What's the engine on your car? 1.5? And I just thought, that's a conversation I would have with a 40-something-year-old man. So, that's the way. Well, I guess they've learnt from the best, really. But, yeah, my brother definitely doesn't really. I say he doesn't let them be kids. He does. He's always taking them out. And I think he is a good dad, really. But he just has very unconventional ways of parenting. And he does teach them some very obscure things. I remember once my brother was talking to a colleague of his, and he was telling him that he had 3 children, and his colleague, who was also a man, was like, oh, I've got kids too. What was asking my brother about his kids, and my brother was just like, yeah, I've got 3 of them. First one's all right, the second one's a bit of a dick, and the youngest is a total prick. And I just kind of thought, you could never say that in front of like mum's club or something. I don't know what it is about dads, but they can just, and believe me, I do know that most dads don't talk about their kids like this, but he does have a bit of an odd relationship. I think overall he's a good dad. Like they are always out and about every weekend. They're always going to some museum, or they're going to some festival, or they're always doing days out. So I think he shows them love that way. But he does do things that are just a bit odd. Like my brother went through this phase of sending me like WhatsApping me pictures of his kids, but it looked like he'd gone into paint or something and just drew a picture of a penis on their head. And it's a really juvenile, you know, when you're at school, the kind of penis that's just like an outline with a black pen. He sent it to me, and I was like, I sent it to my friend, and she was pissing herself laughing because she was like, they're his own kids. Why is he drawing a picture of a penis on his own kid's head? So, yeah, he's an obscure man. But, you know, each to their own, I suppose. They've got a good relationship, and I suppose on the bright side, although I'm sure his kids don't see his edited pictures of him drawing dicks on his own children's heads, they have grown up with a very good sense of humour, even at their young age. But yeah, I think it's definitely a good thing that my brother has only boys. I think in any case, he would always only have boys. And I might only be saying that because he does only have boys, so I can't imagine him with a daughter. But I just don't think he really suits fathering a little girl. He's not really that emotional, and he's quite rough and tumble anyway, so I just couldn't see him try and raise a little girl. And the reason why I say that is because, so I've got my older brother who has 3 boys, and we have a much younger sister. So our sister is like, she's quite a bit younger than us. She's closer to his kid's age. In fact, she's only 2 years older than his oldest child. So she's more like close with her nephews, which is a bit odd, but you know, families come in all shapes and sizes nowadays. But I definitely can't see him with a little girl, because I know that whenever he's with our sister, it's like, I don't know how she takes him, because he's so rough and tumble, and she's a proper girl. Like, she's a very girly girl. She doesn't really, like, she will cry. In fact, I don't remember any kind of interaction my brother has had with my younger sister that hasn't ended up in her crying and telling mum to make him go away. So, yeah, it's kind of a godsend, really, that he did just end up with boys, because if he had girls, I don't know how he would cope. Although saying that, we did grow up together, and I am a girl, if you could tell. And I do remember he did do some girl stuff. Like, he would play Barbies with me every now and again. And actually, come to think of it, he used to be obsessed with doing my hair. But I don't really think of that very often, because I remember he used to get really angry if I told anyone that I would if I told him I would tell anyone that he liked playing with my hair. It was a bit like the baking thing, where he went through a phase in his early teens where he would just bake cakes all the time, but he would literally tell me he would kill me if he found out that I had told anyone that he liked to bake cakes. It was one of those. So maybe he would have been alright with a girl. He could just play with her hair all day and threaten her and tell her not to tell anyone that he likes playing with girls' hair. Anyway, getting slightly back onto the topic of the build. So I mentioned earlier, do you remember when I said it kind of ended up being one colour scheme? I don't know how that happened. I just kind of went with it and ended up with an entire downstairs that was just red in every single room. I think it's because it's the easiest thing to do, isn't it? Just match by colour without, you know, trying to be creative. And yeah, creativity isn't really my strong suit, so it suits me fine to just go for one colour. But even this room started off with like a beigey colour and ended up with blue. I don't really know where blue came from, but again, same colour all round. And I think that's a trend in all of my speed builds, where like one bedroom will just be one colour, and then the other one will be one colour, and all of the furniture will be the same. So yeah, anyway, we're getting towards the end of the video now, so I should probably try and stop rambling on and sum it up. So yeah, that's my house. It's pretty cozy. Could probably only have 2 Sims live there, but yeah, if you are watching, I just want to say thank you for watching. I appreciate it. I know your time is valuable, so I do appreciate you spending time watching these. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Feel free to leave me a comment, why not? And yeah, that's it. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.